Welcome, everyone. My name is Asiya Sheikh, and I'm a health informatics specialist at King Faisal Specialist Hospital and Research Center, working towards digital transformation in healthcare. I'd like to wish you good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world you're logging in from. I'm currently logging in live from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I'll be moderating this session. I'd like to introduce you our three esteemed speakers, starting off with Edward Surgeon, Senior Account Executive from Procore. Very glittering career, over 15 years of experience in assisting major construction and engineering companies in Australia and the Middle East with their digital transformation journeys. We also have Kareem Abdul Hay from Cerner. Kareem is the General Manager of Saudi Arabia and Egypt in Cerner, a healthcare company, something that is very close to my heart. Kareem has over 15 years of experience in maintaining successful business relationship between Cerner and its clients in Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Last, we have Dr. Ibrahim Kebbi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct, who is a Renaissance from Advisors Consulting Company. He has over 25 years of experience in academic development and training in construction, healthcare, oil and gas, manufacturing, telecom, education, just name it. Before we start off with our first speaker, I'd like to just give a little bit of housekeeping, which is we want to make this session as interactive as possible. So please use the chat function to post any questions or comments you may have. I will go over your questions towards the end of each presentation. Let's start off with our first guest speaker, Edward Surgeon. Hello, Ed.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Very good. All right. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Edward Surgeon from Procore, and welcome to my very short presentation today, which is going to be all about how do you build a culture of digital transformation within a construction business. Now, I know not all of you are from the construction industry. I think there are some, but I think the principles that I'm going to go over today kind of apply to all industries. And so this question of how to build a culture of digital transformation, it's a really interesting one for us and one that we get asked a lot as a 10,000 customer software company. We find a lot of companies come to us and say, look, I think I have a broad understanding of technology and the software side of things, but how do I build that culture of digital transformation inside my business? And so this is becoming an ever more important question because projects are getting more complex. As we all know, teams are getting more geographically dispersed, and frankly, it's harder to stay on top of things these days. Now, before I dive in, let me just start by sort of briefly explaining what Procore is and what we do. So today, we're the world's leading construction management platform with purpose-built and connected tools covering all aspects of project life cycles. We've actually been around for quite a while, founded almost 20 years ago in 2002 in California. And earlier this year, we actually listed on the New York Stock Exchange and having supported over 1 million successful projects on our platform to date. Now, we're a really sort of niche and sort of focused company. So our sole focus at Procore always has been and always will be construction. And so much of the Procore team, just like me, comes from the construction industry. And whilst our backgrounds and experiences may be different, we all have this kind of one thing in common, and that is that at some point along our journey, having seen the same issues arise project after project, we started to feel that there had to be a better way. And that's why we don't just consider ourselves a partner to the industry, but rather a part of it. And so referring back to the title of this presentation on how to build a culture of digital transformation, I'm going to outline three considerations that perhaps you should consider. And so firstly, it's about finding a technology partner that's willing to put the legwork in terms of getting people up and running. Okay, so you need, or frankly, you deserve a partner that understands the importance of bringing people together in one place where they can communicate and collaborate. and a platform that provides a stable foundation from which you can build your business further. And so this idea of having a single source of truth is critical for tech adoption and process efficiency. And in recent years, we've actually seen technology companies kind of flood the market with these siloed solutions that have in effect kind of prevented the industry from recognizing the full potential of technology. And so these kind of disconnected systems, fail to speak to each other, and you end up creating more headaches than actual benefits. And so beware, some of these solutions often come from companies who've actually never stepped a foot out on a construction site or whatever industry you happen to be working in. And they sort of spin up these software systems that solves only one piece of the puzzle. So unlike Procore, they haven't built alongside the real people who use these solutions, day in and day out, who, depend on these solutions to get home safe and to do their best work. And thus they sort of fail to join the dots, resulting in this sort of patchwork quilt of disconnected, siloed solutions that prevents the construction industry from sort of bridging that gap and realizing the productivity gains that we've seen in other industries. And so secondly, looking at building that culture of digital transformation, you need a system that everyone can use. And so this is particularly important if you're going to get the buy-in, not only from the people in the office, but also the teams out in the field. And so my advice is, don't accept empty promises from your vendors or assurances that their software will work. Demand customer references and ask to speak to their customers that are using the software, and qualify the type of support that you're going to get with the software. And so look, ultimately you want your end users, and particularly the ones out in the field, to go away happy. And that in itself helps drive this culture. But if they can't use the system, and thus you fail to connect the people in the field, then ultimately everyone will be left feeling disappointed by the system implementation. And so my final piece of advice, as I'm conscious of time here, make sure that you're future-proofing your business with the technology. Okay, and there's really two elements to this. One, make sure that you're not simply creating another disconnected silo or island of technology in your business. This is where the platform story really comes into play. So make sure that the software you're choosing can easily integrate with the other mission-critical tools that you're using in your business. So this is absolutely vital. And lastly, it's about ensuring that you're well positioned to take advantage of all of the new advances that are coming down the track, particularly in terms of analytics, the use of big data, AI, machine learning. It's advancing at such a rapid pace. So for companies like yours, with a long-term strategy in mind, it's really critical that you choose a platform that's able to keep up and continually investing in this capability. And so with that, I'd like to thank you all for listening and pass it over to my fellow panelists. Here's my email address. So if you'd like to get in touch, then please don't hesitate.
Thank you so much, Ed. That was a wonderful presentation. I do have a few questions. So the first question is, how does a company build a culture for digitalization?
Yeah, so I think kind of, the key points that we sort of really covered there. I think, choosing the right partner is one thing. Choosing a partner that has a platform that is able to really connect everyone. And that leads to the sort of second key thing, which is, getting the buy-in. You really want adoption. You want everyone to buy into this process. And so one is selecting the right partner. Two is try and optimize for ease of use. It's no good having a tool that has all the bells and whistles, but it's difficult to use. So choose something that's going to be really, really easy to use. And then, choose someone that's investing in the right areas so that you're sort of future-proofing your business. So areas like analytics and AI and machine learning.
True. Thank you, Ed. And our second question is, how does Procore secure success for all?
Yeah, good question. I think it kind of goes back to one of the points I mentioned before. So ease of use. I think we've all had experience with tools and technology that's difficult to use. And so, I think to get success, you've got to have something that's easy to use that people adopt. So that's the first thing I'd say. The second thing is, and look, this may be more sort of applicable to what we do in construction. So in construction, you have so many stakeholders, right? And so the licensing model. So with Procore, our licensing model is unlimited users. So we don't place any limitation on the number of people, users, organizations that can use the system. And so I think that's a really unique thing that helps drive success.
Thank you so much, Ed, for your time. Lovely presentation. Lovely having you here. I guess we'll move on to our next speaker, Kareem Abdul Hay.
Do you hear me now? Hello.
Hi, Kareem.
Hi, how are you doing, Asya?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us today.
Appreciate it. So talking about smart hospitals, and that's a topic very close to my heart, and I don't know how I would close that in 6 minutes, but let's see. So starting a quick overview, talking about what is a smart hospital. So in the past, when you talk about smart hospital, when you talk about hospitals, what you would expect is this, files, paper files all over the place, very difficult even to arrange and bring from one place to another and cause a lot of problems. But, tens of years ago, I would say about 20, 30 years ago, started the era of digitization. And I do remember about maybe 15 years ago, one of the hospitals, when they turned electronic medical records in their system, meaning going digital, they will call the smart hospital just being digital. So that was kind of the first step. But then what you are expecting today after those tens of years are much different than what it was. So let's take that quick video to get to understand what we have right now. So you can see how the organizations are utilizing technology to market themselves. What do we have right now? This is just sample of the technologies available or the uses in the smart hospital. So clinical decision support and how you can support clinicians in taking the right decisions and follow the latest guidelines and protocols. Voice recognitions, while we use it in our day-to-day activities, it's getting into the healthcare and enables all of the healthcare givers to put orders using voice recognition without the need to be on a keyboard. Robotics, we have just seen examples, but there are some more examples for utilization in hospitals for robotics. Patient portals, how you can get into a quick visit with a physician on a video call. book your appointments, see your results. Everything is happening now through a portal. Wearables with all of the great data available that can help you in taking care of your health, feeding your patient record, as well as take proactive measures and actions towards your health is also another tool. And the last example given here is the staff management. So there are a lot of systems available right now that can help in assigning the right resources based on the demand, based on the need, and based on their skill sets, so you can minimize the spend and be more efficient. So these were just examples of the current technologies. What is the future bringing? We are seeing here in the future a lot of the minimization of the clinician needing to input things manually. So one of the examples, there are technologies available right now where you can install mics in the physician room, and this mics will be analyzing the conversation happening between the physician and the patient, and entering all of the information in the patient record, putting all of the orders. So by the end of the visit, the physician can just take a quick look, ensure accuracy, and confirm it. This is just an example of how artificial intelligence is playing a role in taking that to the next step. So since we're talking to project managers here, what are the challenges of a smart hospitals and how we can handle those type of projects? So first thing I would always say, you need a vision. If you want to go for a smart hospital, you need to understand what do you want to achieve by that. So there are different purposes and you need to have a vision, and that's what would help you drive it going forward. The next thing is the benefits. So before starting any of these projects, you need to have analysis for what benefits you are expecting out of it, so that by the end of the project, and those are expensive projects, so by the end of those projects, you can analyze the achievements and have your return on investment for this. These are not one single technology, as we have seen multiple technologies, multiple vendors. So this is a complex one, how you can align all of those to start together, end together in a harmony with good interfaces between each others, how you will support all of these going forward so that end users are not affected with anything. And the most important, if you want to be a smart hospital, you need to stay as a smart hospital. So what is smart today or considered smart nowadays, after 3 years or 4 years could be very ordinary. And if you want to be still on the smart, you need to continue, be on that edge. So I hope I covered this as much as possible with you, but if there's any question, happy to take those, and this is my contact details.
Thank you so much, Kareem. Yes, we do have one question. What is the future of robots and AI in future in hospitals and healthcare?
Yes, so we have seen a quick example on the surgeries and how robotics are used right now in surgeries, but robotics are used much widely than that. So from welcoming patients coming into the facilities and guiding them towards where they need to, or helping in the registration and checking process. We have seen robotics now delivering medications or food, across the hospital. We're seeing a lot of the robotics used in the pharmacies and how it can dispense machines in a less time frame and a more accuracy. So we are seeing every day new uses for the robotics in the hospitals, and definitely AI is supporting all of that. We in all of the systems I talked about, there is artificial intelligence that would help in getting the needed results in a more accurate way and in a more efficient way. So more uses every day, and I think the future is bringing more to us.
Thank you so much, Kareem. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, now we have Dr. Ibrahim Kabi. Dr. Kabi, can you please share your screen?
Hello, can you see it now?
Yes,
Hello.
I do see your screen with apps on. Yes, I see your slide now.
Okay. So just tell me when I start, when to start.
You may start, Doctor.
Okay. So hello, everybody. My name is Ibrahim Kidbe, and I am a PhD in Systems and Information Engineering from Hokkaido University in Japan. I am an ATP with PMI. I'm also the only APMG accredited enterprise big data professional trainer in the MENA region. My talk today will be about a framework which is actually working for big data, a practical framework for working with big data analytics. First of all, when it comes to big data, you have a VUCA situation where you have volume, velocity, variety, and veracity of the data challenging the analysis. In this sense, the multiple sources, the volume, the sheer volume and velocity at which they are produced, as well as the errors that are actually widespread within the big data. All of this makes the analysis, collection, and cleaning to be, very challenging. Let me. I think okay. My video is on, right? Okay, yeah, it is on. So let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so as I was saying, the business model here is related to connecting the data itself with the proper analytical tools that are used. And this is, of course, according to a project-based initiative called the Centers of Excellence, a distributed computational infrastructure, as well as using a fully digital strategy. It is not a strategy upon which you slap some kind of digitization infrastructure. No, it is a fully digitized strategy. On the other hand, the framework itself is comprised of 6 core capabilities. First of all, it is accredited by APMG, the same people who are accrediting many World Bank private-public partnership certifications. This framework is built around 6 core capabilities. First of all, you have the big data strategy that we talked about, then a certain architecture to undertake a distributed architecture to undertake all the data and the results and the communications. And of course, you have the algorithms that undertake the analysis. You have the functions that we are going to talk shortly about, the roles, the processes that are used in order to build up the process. And finally, artificial intelligence that engulfs everything and promotes this framework. Of course, this framework is capable of bridging many gaps, maturity gaps, assessed to scale. The roles that I was talking about, we have 5 roles. First of all, we have the big data professional role, in which we have a person working on the business strategy, a digital business strategy. That person doesn't need to be an analyst nor an IT person, but somebody who understands and knows how to implement strategy. And then we have the analyst who uses a pre-made or prefabricated algorithms to solve some built-in business problems. This was the second slide I've shown you, using it as a guide. And then you have the data scientist who actually invents more appropriate algorithms. And then you have the engineer who cleans the data. Of course, this is the problem with veracity. Of course, there are many errors within the data, so they have to be corrected first. And then you have the architect who actually undertakes the establishment of the full distributed architecture for IT. Finally, these 5 roles are put into 5 standards. Each one of them uses open source analytical tools like the R language, for example, for analysis. And of course, all of them are actually vendor independent solutions. This is all I have to say now. Please, if you have any questions, I'm open for anything.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim Kebi. That was lovely. I do have one question for you. I'm being asked, what are the career paths in enterprise big data?
Well, as you have seen, the 5 roles that were shown, Those 5 roles are actually related to 5 different, if you want, teamwork. They are not siloed. They are actually integrated. They are working together. So first of all, we have the head of this team, who is the professional. He or she are actually strategists, business strategists, not necessarily understanding the full length of the technical stuff, the analysis and the infrastructure, but they know how to voice out the problem and set up objectives and goals. Then this endeavor goes into 2 technical directions. You have the direction of the infrastructure and the direction of the data analysis. In the direction of the data analysis, you have the analyst and the data scientist. The analyst uses already ready-made, algorithms to solve problems according to the map that we've shown in the beginning. And then if this doesn't work, then we have the data analyst who is going to procure or invent, if you will, build up more models and more algorithms to solve even more intricate problems, just sort of custom made. On the other hand, you have the infrastructure. In there, we have somebody called an engineer, data engineer, who works on cleansing the data. The data needs to be cleaned all the time, and this comprises about 80% of the time. So 80% of the effort is put there. So on the other hand, if we have special, especially that we have vendor-free and open source infrastructure, we need somebody to actually work on this infrastructure and make it even more available and more parallel distributed. These are the 5 roles.
Thank you, Dr. Kebbi. Yes, with this, it concludes our session for digitalization. Thank you all for attending. It was lovely hearing your presentations. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of the conference and have a good day.